Good morning, guys. In the last session, we discussed about how to develop application by using our application by using Spring Security. Okay, so how to develop login and registration page by using Spring Security. What is user detail service, and we also discussed about how to develop a application by using OAuth integration. How to implement OAuth integration for our application. So we created OAuth app in the GitHub, and it is provided client ID and client secret for us. So that client ID and client secret we configured in our application. Then when we access our application, it is redirecting to the GitHub. So if you have the account in the GitHub, then easily you can access our Spring Boot application. All right. So today we are going to talk about Spring Boot with JWT, which is very famous interview question and very important in order to secure microservices based applications. Multiple microservices will be available in the real time, and it is not recommended to implement a security for every microservice that we are having. Okay, so that's why what we are going to do, that security will be implemented at only one place, that is at API gateway level, and that security also will be implemented by using this JWT. So what is this JWT and how to develop one application by using JWT? So the first thing, JWT stands for JSON Web Tokens. The full form for the JWT, JSON Web Tokens. So this JWT official website is available, and you can see the more details about the JWT from this website, and we can understand the structure of the JWT. So let me go to official JWT website. I will open the URL and I will show you. JWT.io website is available now. So you can see, learn more about the JWT. JWT stands for JSON Web Tokens, and these JSON Web Tokens are open industry standard method for representing security between two parties. So when two applications are communicating, then in order to secure that communication, we are going to use this JWT concept. All right. Now, so the sample JWT token is going to look like this. The sample JWT token is going to look like this. It will be in the encoded format. So if you observe the JWT token, sample JWT token, you can see three different colors in the token. Okay, first red color is available and it is separated with a dot. Then pink color is available, separated with a dot, and sky blue color is also available. So that represents the structure of the JSON token. That JSON token contains three parts, guys. Okay, so three parts are available in the JSON token, and every token is separated with the dot. After red color characters, dot is available. Then pink color characters, then dot is available. Then sky blue color characters are available. So that means the JSON token contains three parts here. What are those three parts? So here you can see this is the JSON token which is in the encoded format. If you decode that JSON token, the three parts are available here. The three parts, first part is header part. The header part of the JSON token will represent what is the algorithm we are using and what is the type of the token we are using. The algorithm, HS algorithm that we are using, and the type of the token is a JWT token. So the first part of the token will represent header. The header will represent algorithm and type of the token. And the second part is a payload. Payload represents what is the subject, for which user we generated this token, when that token is generated, the timestamp also you can mention in the payload of the token. And for this token, we have the signature also. In the signature, header plus payload will be encoded. Encoded header dot encoded payload plus encoded secret value will be available. So this is the sample structure of our JSON token. So official website is available. You can see that website now. Below is the sample JWT token. JWT token looks like this, guys. As discussed, this JWT token contains below 3 parts. What are the 3 parts will be available in the token? The first part contains header, and the second part contains payload, and the third part contains signature. Okay, header, payload, and signature, 3 parts will be available in the token. And all these 3 parts will be separated by using dot. Okay, JWT 3 parts will be separated by using dot symbol. Right now, how these JSON tokens are going to work, how the JWT security will be implemented in our applications. Now you see, here we have our application. Suppose for example, one microservice or one REST API application is available. Now I want to secure that application by using JWT token. Okay, now this is my application. So this is my Spring Boot REST API. This is Spring Boot REST API. And a front-end application or a other application want to access this REST API. For this, the REST API application consumer is available. This is the provider and this is consumer application, or I can say client. That client can be another Java application, or client can be Postman, client can be Angular, client can be React. It can be anything. It can be anything. Now Spring Boot REST API is available and consumer application is available. Now in this Spring Boot REST API application, I am going to write 2 methods, guys. One method which is authenticate method, and another method actual my dashboard method. For example, dashboard data. So first method is authenticate method and the second method is get data. For example, get data. So get data method is a secured. Get data method is a secured method. In order to access this get data, the token is required. So now I'm developing one Spring Boot REST API. In this REST API, 2 endpoints are available. One endpoint is authenticate endpoint. Another endpoint is get data endpoint. Okay, this is our Spring Boot REST API application. And here we are having our consumer application. Now consumer want to access my REST API get data method. This get data method secured. This get data method is secured method. Now how to access this secured method? So first, consumer application will communicate with the authenticate method by using authentication credentials. Okay, you need to send your authentication credentials to this authenticate method. Okay, now it is going to validate the credentials. Whatever the authentication credentials that you are sending, it can be username and password also. Consumer application is sending a request to authenticate method with username and password. Now this REST API authenticate method will validate the authentication credentials are valid or not. So there will be a database. Okay, it is going to verify the credentials are valid or not. If credentials are valid, then this method is going to send the response to the consumer application. That response is a JWT token. Okay, so first the consumer application will send a request to authenticate method with the given username and password. If that username and password is valid, then that method will generate one JWT token for the consumer and will send that JWT token. So when we are generating the JWT token, as we have seen, this format token we are going to generate, which will contain header part, which will contain payload part, and it will contain signature part also. Header will be available, payload will be available, and signature also will be available. With all this information, one JWT token will be generated, and whenever we generate that JWT token, that token will have the expiry time also. It will have the expiry time also. That means how much time that the token is valid. Okay, you can set for the next 10 minutes the token is valid, or for the next 1 hour the token is valid. Like that you can do the time setup also for the token. Then the token will go to the consumer application. Then next time when consumer want to access this get data method, consumer should send the JWT token in the request. So then our application will verify JWT token is valid or not. If JWT token is valid, then only our REST API will provide the response to the consumer. Consumer should send username and password to the authenticate method. Application will validate that username and password is valid or not. If username and password is valid, then token will be generated and token will be sent to the consumer. So next time when consumer want to access a secured method, consumer should send the token in the request. That is, token is called as a bearer token. So consumer should send that JWT token in the request. Then that side, that REST API side, consumer side token will be sent, right? Consumer will send a token to the provider. Provider side, the token will be validated. If the token is valid, then the request will be processed. If the token is not valid, request will not be processed. For every request, you need to send the token. Every request will be considered as a first request only. For every request, you need to send the token in the request header, JWT token. So that the JWT token, if the JWT token is valid, then only your request will be processed. If the JWT token is not valid, then your request will not be processed. So this is the execution flow of our application. Provider application is available, consumer application is available. Inside the provider, there are several methods available. And I want to allow the users to access my methods by using JWT tokens. First time, consumer application should send a request to the provider to get the token. Username and password we need to send for the authenticate method. Already we implemented Spring Security login registration application. In the same application, we can add the JWT token. Login registration is already available. When the login is successful, what we are doing? When the login is successful, we are sending a welcome message. Instead of sending a welcome message to the user, I need to generate a JWT token and I will send the JWT token as a response to the client. So consumer is going to send the request for the authentication. If authentication is successful, then I need to send the JWT token as a response. So that JWT token consumer will store in their application, and for the next request, consumer will send the token. If the token is valid, then the request will be processed. Otherwise, that request will not be processed. This is the execution flow. Are you able to understand how JWT token is going to work? Are you able to understand how JWT token is going to work now? Are you able to understand how JWT token is going to work?
Yes.
Yes. So what is the meaning of JWT, guys? Can anyone tell me? What is the meaning of JWT? What is the meaning of JWT? JWT stands for JSON Web Tokens. It is used to establish secure connection between two applications. When one application want to access another application, then we are going to use this JWT token. So if you want to access the methods available in the provider, if you want to access the provider, you need to send the token in the request header. So how that token will look like? The token that we are sending in the request is called as a bearer token. Okay, so that is a bearer token. The token is divided into three parts here. First part is called header part, and second part is called as payload part, and the third part is called signature part. Header part will contain what is the algorithm and what is the type of the token. Payload will contain customer information for which user we are generating this token. Signature part will be available. In signature part, we are going to combine the header and payload by using dot. Header dot payload dot will be available in order to secure that token. Now, consumer application will send a request with the username and password. If that is valid, that username and password, if it is valid, then that method will generate a token and it will send the token as a response. It will send the token as a response. Then consumer will send the next request along with the token in the request header. Now provider side, the token will be validated. If the token is valid, the request will be processed. If the token is invalid, request will not be processed. So how we are going to generate the token and how we are going to validate the token? How we are going to generate the token? How we are going to validate the token? So in the Spring Boot REST API, already we developed our application, which is having user registration and login. Okay, but in this user registration and login, when the user is registered, the password will be encrypted and it will be stored into database table. That is okay. And when user login, what we are doing? We are validating the username and password. We are doing the authentication. If authentication is successful, we are sending a success message to the user. Are you guys able to develop the previous application that we have done in the class? Spring Security with login and registration application we developed. Do you guys able to practice this application? Are you guys able to practice this application what we had developed in the previous session? Before OAuth application, we developed login and registration example. All of you practiced it? All of you practiced it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So user registration and user login. So we created one configuration class. Security configuration class is available. In the security configuration, we configured password encoder to encrypt our password, authentication manager to perform authentication, authentication provider to load the customer data from the database, and the security filter chain we have taken. We have specified which URLs we want to allow and which URLs we don't want to allow. That information we have customized by using filter chain. Then next one, we created one entity class, which is a customer entity, which is mapped with the database table and a customer repository available. In the customer repository, we have taken one method called find by email method, which is used to load the customer record based on the email ID for the authentication purpose. Then we created one user customer detail service, which is implementing Spring service class and which is overriding a method. We are loading the customer record based on the mail ID and we are returning the customer record in the form of Spring Security user object format. And we are having a REST controller. Inside this REST controller, there are two methods available. First method is register method. So can you tell me what is the meaning of this register method now? Can you tell me what is the meaning of this register method now?
The user password for the customer.
It is used to register the user. Okay. So by using that customer name and email ID, we can register the user. Okay. So run the application and test it. Application is available. I already have given the application in the Git repository also, which is used to register the user. When user is registered, the record will be stored into our database table. Show use SBMS 45, show tables. There will be one table called customer table. Select star from customer. Okay, two records are already available. I can use the postman and I can use the postman and I am going to create one more user and I will check the login also. User registration and user login we have implemented. So once the user is registered, then what will happen? The record will be inserted into database table by encrypting the password. Bcrypt encoder we are using, which is used to encrypt our password. Now in the same application, we are going to implement JWT also. Okay, my postman tool is opened. Now /post login request is available. Let me go to the registration request /register. Go to the request body. Okay, so I'm giving the name, email, and password. Okay, let me give the customer name also. The customer name, we can give something like Sunil. Okay, and email we are giving sunil@gmail.com. Okay, and password Sunil@123. If phone number is required, that also you can specify. In the database, we are taking the phone number also. Now let me give name, email, password, name, phone number. Right. I'm giving the phone number as well. Then email and password. Click on send button. I'm giving the original password. Click on send button now. Could not connect because the application is not started. Let me run this application. Go to our start class of the project. Application.java. Run this application. It will run on the default port number, which is 8080. Application is getting started. Yeah, fine, guys. Think our application is started. Clear the console. Now click on send. I'm sending a request for registration of the user. Customer is registered successfully. Go to database. Earlier we have only two records, Ashok and Raju. Now select a star from customer. Now Sunil record is also inserted in the database. Password is in the encoded format. We can't read the password from the database. Now I want to send login request. Now you observe when I'm sending login request, guys, I no need to send all these details. So to send the login request, we just need to send only the email ID and password. Remaining things are not required. Remove the name and phone number. Only email ID and password I am giving. So I am giving valid password. Okay. Suppose if I give invalid password and if I send the request, I'm going to get the response saying invalid credential. That means authentication is failed. Who is performing that authentication? Am I writing the logic to perform the authentication, or authentication is taken care by our authentication manager here? Programmer is doing the authentication, or authentication is taken care by authentication manager?
Authentication manager.
Authentication manager, sir.
Authentication manager is taking care of the
I am passing my email ID and password in the form of one token. That token I am passing to authenticate method. So authenticate method will verify that username and password is valid or not. Internally, that authentication manager will talk to authentication provider. Authentication provider will talk to customer service, load the data and verify the record is available or not, and compare passwords are matching or not. If everything is fine, then authentication will be successful. Otherwise, authentication is failed. Now, if authentication is successful, what is the response we are giving, guys? If authentication is successful, suppose for example, I'm giving valid password, authentication is successful. Now, if the authentication is successful, what is the response we are giving? Welcome to Ashok IT. That's fine. Login method is available. Registration method is available. Anybody can register in our website and anybody can log in our website. That is okay. Now I am writing one more method in our application, which is a secured method /welcome. For example, public string get welcome message. String get welcome message return. I am giving a message welcome to Ashok IT. Okay, so this method is mapped to another get request method by using @get mapping /welcome. @get mapping /welcome I am using. This method is mapped to get request. So here Instead of this one, I will say valid login. Perfect. Get mapping method / welcome is available. But if you see our security configuration, so in our REST controller, total there are 3 methods available. One is welcome method, another one is login method, another one is register method. Now, if you see the security configuration, can you understand what is there in this security configuration now? Can you understand what is there in the security configuration now?
Yes, sir.
Security is only
Where
applicable for a
the-
register and login page.
Security is not applicable for these URLs. I'm permitting these URLs, right?
Yes, sir. The
So
rest
the
of the
meaning of this /login /register URL patterns I am allowing. Okay. Then what about this new method I have created /welcome? So security will allow us to access this method, will not allow us to access this method.
It will not access.
Not allow.
It will
It
not
will
allow
not.
us to access that method. Why it will not allow us to access that method?
we are not
Why it will
permitting,
not
sir.
allow us to access that method? Because in our application, REST controller, there are 3 methods available. One is the login method, another one is registration method, another one is a welcome method. As per our security configuration, register login permit. Register and login permit all. So any request which is coming to these 2 URL patterns, it is going to permit. But what about the welcome URL pattern? What about the welcome URL pattern, guys?
It's not permitting.
The
Need
welcome
authenticate.
URL pattern is not permitted. The welcome URL pattern is not permitted. Let's try this. My application is running. Okay, go to this /welcome. That is a get request method. Go to /welcome, which is a get request method. Click on send. Click on send. So what is the response we are getting? What is the response we are getting?
403
403.
error, sir.
For not hidden.
Yes. We are getting 403 forbidden. Boss, you can't access that method because of security. Because of the security, you can't access this method. Now, how I will allow the people to access this method? What I want to do is, whenever user is logged in successfully, when user is logged in successfully, instead of sending valid login, I need to generate one JWT token and I will send the JWT token to the customer. So first time customer is trying to log in. If a customer logged in successfully, then I will generate a token and I will send that token to the customer. Now customer should send the token to the welcome URL. If a customer is sending the token, then only it is valid, otherwise it is invalid. Okay, I need to generate a token for the customer. I need to generate a token for the customer. If the token is available, then I will process the request for the welcome. If the token is not available, I will not process the request of the customer. Are you guys able to follow me? Are you guys able to follow me now? What is required to access this welcome method? What is required to access this welcome method? A JWT token. So when the customer will get the token, when application will generate a token for the customer? Come on, guys. When we need to generate a token for the customer?
User login, the
If the login is successful,
successful, then only it's
yeah, if the login is successful, we need to generate a token and we will send the token as a response. Next time, when the customer is sending the second request, he will send the request along with the token. If the token is valid, then we will process the request. If the token is invalid, we will not process the request. Now, so as of now, any changes we made to the application, just I added one method. So in the previous class, we developed this application. Spring Boot security, registration and login functionality we have implemented. So any changes today? Any changes we made today in this application? Come on, guys. What are the changes I made to the application today?
Extra method added. That's it.
add the get mapping method. Welcome method.
What are the changes we have done for this application today? We just added one get request method. Now, in order to implement the JWT here, we are going to create two classes in our application. One is called JWT service class we are going to create. One is a JWT service class we are going to create, and one more class will be available, which is a filter. Is a JWT service class we are going to create. Another one is filter class we are going to create. So in our application, these are the two new classes we are going to introduce in order to secure our application with the JWT. So the flow is very simple. So registration available, anybody can register. Their record will be created in the database. Their password will be encrypted and will be stored into database. Then customers can log in with their valid credentials. If they log in with the valid credentials, then our application should generate a token for the customer and send the token as a response. Then when customer is trying to access another method, apart from login registration, to access any other method in the application, they need to send the token in the request. We need to validate the token. If the token is valid, then the request will be processed. If the token is invalid, then that request will not be processed. JWT. JWT stands for JSON Web Tokens. It is used to establish secure communication between two applications. That the JWT token is divided into three parts. Header part is available, payload part is available, and the signature part is available. And every part is separated by one dot. Now in the existing application, to implement JWT, what are the changes we need to do? I'm going to create one new class. That class name is JWT service. In that JWT service, we will write the logic. To generate the token and validate the token. Okay. So there will be one method in the JWT service which is used to generate the token, and there will be a method which is used to validate the token. JWT service class will be created. In that JWT service class, lot of code will be available, guys. You don't need to by heart even. I will take this service class code from internet only. JWT service class will be available, which will contain the logic to generate the token and validate the token. And we are going to create one more class here, which is called app filter. So what is this app filter? So in our application, for every request, this filter should be executed. So what is the responsibility of the filter? This filter is going to decide the token is valid or not. If the token is valid, the request will be processed. If the token is not valid, request will not process. That means for every request, this filter will execute. This filter will check JWT token is coming in the request or not. If the token is not coming in the request, then it is an invalid request. Suppose if the token is coming, we are going to validate that the token is valid or not. If the token is valid, then only we need to process the request. Otherwise, we should not process the request. The token validation, request validation part will be available in the filter. For every request, this filter is going to execute. So these are the two new classes we need to create in our application. Okay. So one is JWT service. Another one is app filter. This app filter once per request. So this will execute once per request. For every request, this filter is going to execute. For every request, this filter is going to execute. What will be the logic in the filter? In this filter, the logic will be validate the check the token is coming in the request header or not. If the token is not coming in the request header, invalid request, you don't process. Suppose if the token is coming, then verify the token is valid or not by using JWT service class. If the token is valid, then disable the security for that method request will be processed. If the token is invalid, then don't process the request. That logic we are going to write inside filter class. Two new classes we are going to implement. One is JWT service, another one is app filter. And we need to make some changes to our configuration also. App security configuration is available. We are going to update this configuration to meet our JWT security. We are going to make some changes to this security configuration class also in order to process the request by using JWT token. Are you guys able to follow me? Are you guys able to follow me? What is the JWT and how this JWT will work in the application?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Are you able to follow me? What is JWT? How this JWT will work in the application? Yes.
Sir, can you please repeat that application filters purpose?
Filter, for every request filter is going to execute. That filter is used to verify token is coming in the request or not. If token is not coming, it is invalid request. Request will not be processed. If the token is coming, it will verify the token is valid or not. If it is invalid token, don't process the request. If it is a valid token, then allow the request to be processed. Filter will take care of that token validation.
Sir, what is the purpose
So
of
you have
validate token
written
in JWT?
validate token in the JWT service, right?
Yeah. Internally, this app filter will call this method only to validate the token.
Okay. Okay, sir, got it.
App,
Thank you.
app filter is going to execute for every request. So what this filter will do? First, it will check JWT token is present in the request or not. If token is present, then it will verify the token is valid or not by communicating with the JWT service. If the token is valid, then filter will follow the next process to execute the request. You got my point?
Yes, sir.
Someone is asking other question. Any other question? Theoretically, are you clear? What is the
Yes, sir.
JWT?
In what also we have like a token mechanism, sir, like this. What token
That
previously?
what token internally they will execute, sir. We are configuring client ID secret, right? They will verify the token. You no need to do that.
Okay, sir. Okay.
So in the JWT, we need to validate the token.
But in what it automatically?
Yes, it will
internally-
automatically verify that.
Okay, sir.
So here the process is simple. Customer will register, then customer will log in. If the login is successful, that means authentication is successful, then JWT token will be generated for the customer, and the token we will send as a response to the customer. When customer sending the next request, they need to send the token in the request header. So to validate that token, we are going to create one filter class. That filter will execute for every request. And actual token generation, token validation logic, we are going to implement by using one class, which is called JWT service. In the JWT service, lot of code will be available. So that code we will take from the internet only. And this filter we are going to develop. This filter will execute for every request and it will verify token is present or not. It will verify token is valid or not. Good. Fine. Now, let me go to ChatGPT and let's type Spring Boot with JWT. Just you ask ChatGPT what is the logic that it is giving. Spring Boot REST API with JWT. Yeah, it is giving the step by step. What is the process that we need to follow in order to develop our application by using JWT. Okay. Now you observe, in order to develop our application with the JSON Web Tokens, they are using Spring Web Dependency, Security Starter, JPA, H2 database. We are using MySQL database. Okay. Configure Spring Security. So Spring Security authenticate, permit all, any other request which is coming. So only authenticate method they are allowing, the remaining URLs we need to secure. So here I'm talking about JWT util class. In our scenario, I mentioned the class name as a JWT service. Here they mentioned that class name as JWT util. So generate token method is available. So internally it is talking to create token method, and there is a method validate token method, and extract username, extract claims, check the token is valid or not. So this is the logic which is available in the internet in order to generate the token and in order to validate the token. There are two public methods available. One is a generate token method is available, and another one is validate token method available. And internally they are calling some other methods in order to generate the token, in order to validate that token. Okay, this logic we no need to by heart, just we need to keep in mind. So JWT service class will be available. So by using the given username or email ID, a token will be generated. Internally, it is calling create token method, JWT builder, set clients, when the token is generated, when the token is going to expire. Okay, and what is the algorithm we are using to generate the token, we will give that, and we are going to verify the token is valid or not. So whatever the username is available, is it matching or not, and is the token is expired or not, we are going to verify. This class I will copy from the internet, which is a JWT service class. And once this service is available, our REST API and request class and filter we need to implement, guys. So I'm going to create a app filter. That filter is used to verify the token is present or not, the token is valid or not. Once it is done, I will make small correction in my configuration class to specify these URLs should be allowed, the remaining URLs should be authenticated by using that JWT security, and I will configure a filter which is used to validate that request is valid or not. So first, I'm going to create in the existing application only, I'm going to create one new class. That class name I'm used already service package available, right? Let me create one class with a name called JWT service. Okay, I'm creating a class with a name called JWT service. As discussed, in this JWT service, lot of methods we are going to implement. Those methods are mainly for two reasons. One is to generate the token, another one is to validate the token. Even I can't write this complete code, I can't buttify this code, guys. I will take this code from the internet and we will write it. All right, good. Now go to this JWT service. To represent this class as a service class, I'm going to use @service annotation. I'm using @service annotation. Now we want to generate this token by using some secret. So that's why one secret is string I'm taking. So which is used to mention in the token. As we discussed, token header, payload, signature. In the signature, encoded header, encoded payload, encoded secret will be available, right? So what is the secret to store our token? So that is the secret I'm taking. Then here in this token, methods will be available. So one of the method which I'm going to take here, that is generate token. Okay. So I'm taking one method which is generate token method. For this token method, we are passing some username, and with that we are creating one map object called claims object, and I'm calling one more method called create token. Given username and the empty map object we are passing to this create token method. So what this create token method will do internally, there is a private method I am writing which is used to create the token. In this create token method, we are mentioning the information that we need to keep in the token. We are mentioning the information that we need in the token. First one, JWT is a class that I need to import. Date I'm going to take from util package. Signature algorithm. I think I need to add some dependencies in my pom.xml. So JWT related dependencies we need to add in our pom.xml. Let me take them. JSON API, JWT token API, I'm going to take and I will add them in our pom.xml. I will give this GitHub repository. I will push my code to the GitHub repository, guys. So this is our application, MySQL connector available, and I'm adding some extra dependencies. JWT API, JWT IMPL, JWT Jackson. These are the dependencies I am adding in the application in order to implement our JWT concept. Okay. Now go to this and we need to import the packages now. JWT is a predefined component that I need to import. Dependencies are downloaded. Yes. From io.json web token, JWTs we have imported, and signature algorithm. This is also imported from JSON web token. So these are the three new dependencies I have added in the pom.xml in order to develop this application. Got my point. Now go to JWT service class. So in the JWT service class, I have created one variable. In that variable, I'm storing some secret. So this is some dummy, any number of anything, alphanumeric values I'm taking. You can keep anything as your secret. Then I'm writing one method. That method is a generate token method. Internally, that method is talking to create token method. It is having two parameters. One is empty map object and another one is username we are passing. By using this method, we are using JWTs.builder. We are setting the claims as a map. Subject we are keeping as username, issued date, expiry date, and sign with get sign key. What is get sign key? We need to call one more method which is called get sign key. Whatever the secret that we are having, we are encoding that secret by using this get sign key method. Decoders are available, base 64 decoders, and key is available, Java security key that we need to import in order to use this. Java.security.key package we are importing. So by using these keys, whatever the secret key is available, with that secret key, it is generating one sign key. Whatever the secret we have taken, we are decoding that secret and we are converting into byte array. So HMEI SHA key for whatever the byte array is available, which is converted into key object, that key object we are passing. So these are the three methods which are used to generate the token. Generated token method we are going to call, which will call create token method, which will call sign key method. So with this all information, finally a JSON token will be generated. That JSON token will be available in the three parts: header, payload, signature, with all the information that a token will be generated. This is the actual logic where the token will be generated. So what is the claims and what is the subject and what is the date when the token is issued, when the token is going to expire, and what is the secret key of the token and what is the algorithm of the token. So this is the core logic which is used to generate the token. So that a token we are returning as a string. Then next one, we need to write a method which is used to validate the token also. In order to validate the token, one more method, the token and user details service we are going to supply. There is a method called validate token method is available, which is used to verify the token is valid or not. So this method internally calling one more method called extract username and is token expired. So is token expired? We need to verify and we need to extract the username from the token. Okay. In order to extract username from the token, we are going to call one method extract username. Whatever the token is available, from this token, we are going to get the subject. Claims subject will be available. Extract claim method is available. This extract claim internally calling one more method, extract all claims. Extract all claims internally parse the token and get the body of the token. It is going to parse the token and is going to process it. Function it is used. So in order to validate the token, we need to extract username from the token. Whatever the token is generated, in that token our name will be available, right? We need to extract this name from the token. To extract that name from the token, validate token method internally calling extract username. Extract username internally calling extract claim. Extract claim internally calling extract all claims. The extract all claims method is using JWT parse builder, parse the claims in the token and get the body of the token, which will give username. And one more method is token expired. So extract the token and verify the token is already expired or the token is valid. Boolean is a token is expired or not, we are going to validate. To do that, extract expiration method. One more method is available. So which is used to verify the token is valid or not. Token extract expiration, we are calling one more method. Okay. So with this information, it is going to verify the token is valid or not. Is a token expired method we are calling. Internally, it is calling extract expiration. Extract expiration will take the token validity. If the token validity date is before the current date, then that means it is valid, otherwise it is invalid. So the date in the token date will be available when that token is generated. So based on that, we are going to verify the token is valid or not. This logic you no need to buttify. Even I can't buttify this logic. You can take it from the internet. In the ChatGPT also, directly we are getting this logic. So what is main thing that we need to remember? One is generate token method and another one is validate token method is available. When the customer logged in successfully, we need to generate the token here. When the user log in successfully, we need to generate the token. So we need to send the token as a response. Then when customer trying to access our method, we need to verify the token. For that, validate token method is available. Generate token and validate token, there are two methods available. Now, so when this token should be generated, when the customer login is successful, then token should be generated. Go to our REST controller. Here, login is a success. I'm sending just a message. Now what I will do? When the login is successful, I will send the token as a response. So already JWT service is available, which is used to generate the token. So let me take private JWT service. Whatever the service we have created, let me inject that service in our REST controller with the auto wiring. Now, authentication is successful. Authenticated dot is authenticated. It is successful. Then what I will do? I'm going to use JWT service dot generate token. Okay. For this generated token, it is expecting the username, customer email ID. I will pass as the input in order to generate the token. So this method will give the token JWT. Generate token method will give the JWT. That JWT I will send in the response. That's it. Earlier, when the login is successful, we are sending just one message to the customer as a response. But now what I am doing? If the authentication is successful, then I am calling JWT service.generate token method. As we have seen this lot of logic available, no need to by heart. So there is a method called generate token method is available. We are calling that method. It is giving a token. That token we are sending in the response. So customer, the client application is going to get the token when the login is successful. Now we need to validate the token. In order to validate the token, here I'm going to create one filter. So what is that filter? App filter I'm going to create. New class. Okay. So dot filter. So I'm going to create one app filter. This is our class app filter. So what logic should be there in the app filter and when this filter should be executed? This filter, I want to
Validate.
one Spring Bean. I want to represent the filter as a Spring Bean. For that, I'm using one annotation called @component. So this filter should be executed for every request. This filter should be executed for every request. How to execute this filter for every request? How to execute this filter for every request, guys? By implementing one interface or by extending the properties. App filter extends from once per request filter. So there is a predefined filter is available. Once per request filter is available. Go to once per request filter. What kind of class it is, guys? What kind of class it is?
It is abstract class.
It is abstract class. So we are extending the properties from the abstract class. So when we extend the properties from the abstract class, then what we need to do?
We have to implement all the methods.
Yes, we need to implement all the methods. Can you see what is the method available here? Okay, all the public methods are we need to extract. Whatever the abstract methods available, we need to override the abstract methods. All right. Now let me go to this filter and let me override one method, which is do filter internal. What is the method we need to override, guys?
Do filter.
What is the method that we need to override?
Do filter.
To filter internal.
Yes, do filter internal method is available. So what I need to do in this method? What I need to do in this method? So take request header. Take the request header. Check token is present or not. Then verify token is valid or not. Verify token is valid or not. If the token is valid, then we need to allow the request to be processed. Otherwise, we should not allow the request to be processed. So we need to take the request header, okay, and we need to verify the token is present or not. If token is present, then we will validate the token. If the token is valid, then it is okay. If the token is invalid, then we will not process the request. So how to write this logic in the filter? So this filter class is extending the properties from once per request filter. That means for every request, our filter is going to execute. And that filter is the abstract class. When we are extending the properties from the abstract class, we need to override all the abstract methods. So there is one abstract method which is do filter internal method is available. So in this method, what is the logic? So first I am going to get the header from the request. Okay. So already request object and response object is available. So request dot get a header. What is the name of the header? The header name is authorization header. The header will come with the authorization. Okay, let me store into the variable which is authentication header. Request dot get header of authorization. I got the authentication header. Now I am going to verify this header is not null. If auth header is not equal to null. If auth header is not equal to null, and I need to verify, auth header dot starts with the bearer. Okay. So whenever you are working with the basic authentication, it will start with the basic space username and password. So as we discussed in the previous class, when we are sending the request header for the basic authentication, in which format we are sending? Key is equal to authorization, value, basic space, encoded username and password. But when it comes to the JWT token, the token value, suppose when you want to send a token. Now, so when you go for this authorization, we are going to select the bearer token. So when you say bearer token, that token will start with a keyword called bearer. Bearer space, the token will be available. Bearer space, token will be available. So that's why I'm checking here in the request, authorization header is available or not. If the authorization header not equal to null, and if it is starting with the bearer token, then I need to read the token. So bearer 60 characters available, space 1 empty space. So here the token will come like this, guys. So authorization is equal to bearer space, the actual token will come. This is the format that JWT tokens will follow. When consumer is sending a request to the provider with the JWT token, the JWT token looks like this, guys. The JWT token looks like this. Header key will be authorization, header value, bearer space token. So bearer 6 characters, space 1, 7 characters available. So I want to read the actual token from the header value. Header key is authorization, header value will be available in this format. Now, from this value, I want to read the actual token. Okay, for that I am going to use substring method. Auth header, okay, auth header dot substring, auth header dot substring of 7. Okay, then which will give me exact token. Okay, actual token value will be available in this format. From this format, I want to extract only token. So request.get header authorization key, I will get the complete value. From the complete value, I want to get only token. Okay, for that I am using auth header dot substring of 7. So which is going to give me actual token for us. Which is going to give me actual token for us. So let me declare this token outside of the if condition. String token is equal to null. Now, whatever the token I extracted from the request header, I'm storing that token into one variable. Are you guys clear with these 3 lines of code?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Come on, guys.
So we are just like extracting the encrypted value from the header, right, sir?
Yes, header key is authorization. This is the format you are going to get. When the client is sending the JWT token, in this format, the token will come to the provider. So this is the key and this everything is value. In the value, bearer space token is available. So this is the token, actual token. This is a bearer space. It represents it is a JWT token. So from this value, I'm extracting only the actual token. So for that, I'm checking header is not equal to null and a header is starting with the bearer space. Then auth header dot substring of 7. So here 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. From the seventh character, it will give me till end of the string. So that means I will get exact token. Substring method, I'm using of 7. From the seventh character, it will give me everything.
Sir, there is
You
no
got my
relation
point?
between the okay. Sir. There is no relation between the app filter and security filters chain, sir, right?
Sorry guys.
No, sir. What my doubt is there is no relation between the security filter chain and app filter, sir, right?
Your voice is breaking, sir. I can't hear.
No, sir. There is no relation between the app filter and security filter chain, sir.
Security, we will not completed the development, right? We are just
Okay, sir.
on the filter. It's not completed.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Sir, are there a different token as well, as here we are explicitly noting as a bearer?
Sorry, can you come again?
So here explicitly we are calling it's a bearer token. Are there a different tokens as well other than bearer?
The JWT standard is bearer. For basic authentication, basic keyword will be available. For JWT, the token name is a bearer token. That is the industry standard.
Okay.
Are you guys able to understand the logic I have implemented as of now? Perfect. So we are reading the request header, which is authorization. If the header is present, then we are subtracting that only the token we are getting by using substring method. Now from this token, I want to get the username. Okay. So let me write one variable, that is string username is equal to some null value. Once I got the token, with the token, I need to extract the username. For that, I need to inject JWT service here. I'm going to inject the JWT service here, private JWT service. JWT service I'm taking here. I'm injecting this by using auto void. JWT service I have injected by using auto void. Now, so let me use JWT service dot extract username method. I will pass the token and I will get its username. Right. There is a method in the JWT service class which is used to extract the username. I'm just calling this method to get the username from the token. This method I'm calling now, which is used for validating purpose. So I got the token, actual token from the header, and I'm able to extract the username also from the token. Now I'm going to verify that username is not equal to null in the token. If username is not equal to null in the token, and I need to verify the security authentication is null. User is not authenticated as of now. Security context holder will be available. Dot get context, security context dot get authentication. So if authentication is null in our application, okay. So security context authentication I am checking. If the authentication is null, if the authentication is null, then I need to perform the validation. Okay. So user detail service, already we have implemented customer service, right? Let me inject my customer service here. Private customer service, which is our customer service. Using the customer service, I will load the customer record. Customer service dot load user by username with the given username. Customer record I'm going to get, which will return user details. Whatever the method we have implemented in the customer service, with that method, I'm going to load this user record. Right. Once we got the user record, if authentication is null, I'm loading the customer record by using the customer service. Now I will validate the token. JWT service dot validate token. So JWT service validate token method is expecting two parameters. One is token and another one is user details. This method I am calling now. So JWT service dot validate token. So here we are passing the token and we are passing user details. It is going to tell the token is valid or not. Boolean is valid. If the token is valid, then okay, that's fine. If the token is invalid, then we need to take some action for that. If the token is valid, then what we are going to do, whatever the user details object available, and we are going to create one username password authentication token. Username and password authentication token we need to create. Username password authentication token. So this is auth token we need to prepare. How far we created for the login? In the same way we are creating one auth token. So new username password authentication token. For this authentication token, we are passing principal and credentials and authorities. Okay. So already user details object we have taken. I'm passing the user details object. And this is null value. I don't need it. Authorities, user details of service dot get authorities. What are the roles available for the user we are taking? So we created one if the token is valid and we created authentication token object. And with this authentication token object, I'm going to do auth token dot. I need to prepare that security request object. Auth token dot set the details in the form of object. So that is new web authentication detail source will be available. Web authentication source dot build. I need to prepare the request build request dot build the details in the form of our request object. For auth token, I'm setting this web authentication detail source with the whatever the request object we are getting. Once it is done, now go to security context holder dot get context dot set authentication. Whatever the auth token we created, we are setting for that. So if the token is valid, I'm telling to this one authentication token is valid, boss. So the customer is sending a request along with the token. I verified the token is valid. If the token is valid, then I am setting context holder with the authentication. So if this line is executed, that means authentication is successful, the token is valid. You can process the request. If this authentication token is not available in the security context, that means it is an invalid request. That request will not be processed. That is the meaning of that. Fine. So once all this logic is completed, my filter will be available. So I will tell to the filter chain dot to do filter by using the request and response object. So this is our filter, authentication filter. Once per request filter. What I'm trying to do, I'm getting the request header and I'm checking it is starting with the bearer or not. And I'm extracting actual token from that header value. And I'm extracting username from the token. I'm loading the user record based on the given username and I'm validating the token. If the token is valid, I'm updating the security context. If the token is present and if the token is valid, then only this security context will be updated with the authentication token. That means the token is valid, the request will be processed. If this authentication token is not updated with the authentication data, then the request will not be processed. So here is the actual logic available where we are telling to the filter to process the request by updating the authentication token. If the token is valid, I'm creating the token object, authentication token object with the user details. And with that, I'm setting web authentication detail source with the given request. Whatever the request is coming, I'm setting that request object to the authentication token. And we are telling to security context holder, boss, authentication token is already prepared. The token is valid. You can process the request. This line will tell this request can be processed if this authentication token is updated. Now I need to tell to the security context whenever the request comes, this filter should be executed. So how to tell the request, this filter should be executed whenever the request comes. Before going to do that, are you guys clear with this logic now?
Again,
Sir, can you
sorry,
repeat one more time, sir?
We are simply reading the token and we are calling JWT service.validate token method. It is going to check the token is valid or not. So it will return is valid, a Boolean value. If the token is really valid, then I'm updating the security context saying that authentication token already prepared. Token is valid, you can process the request. Just we are updating the security context. This request is valid. How we are telling that this request is valid? This is the line of code. Set authentication, auth token we are passing. User details object we are passing to the token object. The token we are updating to the security context holder. Initially, authentication will be null. If security context authentication is null, request will not be processed. If security context authentication token is updated, then request will be processed. If token is valid, I'm updating that authentication details. Saying that user is authenticated, that request can be processed.
sir, already username and password we have validated in the login method, sir. Then we return like some token, sir. That token is coming here.
Yes.
If you are validating the token, that is enough, na, sir. But why we are extracting like user?
We are validating the token only. We are not validating the username and password again. We
Okay,
are
sir.
just
Okay, okay.
validating the token.
Okay, user details are needed, sir. Okay, okay. For validating the token. Okay.
When user is login with valid email ID and password, then we are generating a token and we are sending the token to the user in the response. When the
Yes,
user
sir. Yes,
makes
sir.
the next request, it will go to the filter. In the filter, we are reading the token and we are validating the token. If the token is valid, we are updating the security context saying that authentication is success. You can process the request. If the token is invalid, then this logic will not be executed. Then the request cannot be processed. You need to keep in mind, if the token is valid, then authentication context we are updating. Security context we are updating to allow the request, to process the request. Initially, that security context authentication will be null. Once the token is validated, if it is valid, then only we are updating that security context.
Here
Got my point?
loading the user details, sir. Again.
Yes, because the validate token method is expecting that token and user details.
Okay, sir. Okay, okay. That is it.
That is the
Okay,
reason
sir.
we are loading that user details. We are passing to that method as a parameter.
Okay, sir.
So like validating this token, so token is present in our database, checking it from the database or?
No, sir. Validating the token not with the database. So the token you are getting in the request, right? So validate
Yes.
token means in that token, we are going to verify the username is matching or not and token is expired or not. At the time of generating the token, we are going to keep username also in the token, right?
Yes, yes, right.
So validation means whatever the username user is giving, is it matching with the username already stored in the token and the token date is expired or not, we are going to verify. Good. Next, go to security configuration. Here in the security configuration, we need to make some changes. What are the changes that we need to make here? If the request is matching with register and login, we need to allow. Otherwise, we need to authenticate that request. Let me reframe this logic, guys. Let me remove this and let me write this security context logic. I need to tell this security now. Whenever a request comes with register login, allow. And for any other request, you should authenticate by using the filter, right? So how to implement that logic? HTTP dot whatever the CSRF is available, we are going to disable that CSRF for the post request, and I'm going to specify return CSRF disable, then authorize whatever the request that we are getting. Okay, authorize the HTTP request with the request matches. If the request is matching with the /login, comma /register. If any request which is coming with login and register, then permit those requests. Okay, and if any other request is coming, authenticate that. And if any other request comes with our application, then authenticate that. If any request comes with the /login and register, you permit. Any other request comes, that should be authenticated. That request should be authenticated. And coming to the session management here. Coming to the session management, we are going to create the session policy as a stateless. So every request should be considered as a new request. Session management, session creation policy. So session creation policy is a stateless. So that means it should not remember the conversation. For every request, it should expect the token. Client should send the token for every request. And authentication provider, who is going to provide the authentication provider, auth provider we already configured as a bean here. And filter, add filter before. So what is our filter? Already app filter we created. Let me inject my app filter here. Okay, private app filter is available. I am injecting that app filter. I will pass that filter. So for every request, this filter should be executed. Apart from these two URLs, for the remaining request, this filter should be executed, which is username password authentication filter. It is username password authentication filter. This is username password authentication filter type dot build this request, which is going to customize our security filter chain. Right. So here, as per our configuration, what we are trying to say, we are telling you process the request which is coming with login register. If any other request is coming, then you execute the filter for that. That is the meaning of this configuration. So let's try and check, is it working as expected or not? Update this Maven project. Clean this project. Run the project and verify whether the token is getting generated as expected or not. Yes, application is started. Now go here. Post request I need to send, go to the history. Login request I need to send. In the body, Sunil data, I'm sending in the login request. The credentials are valid. So What is the expected behavior? When the authentication is successful, application should generate one token and application should send token as a response to us. If authentication is successful, internally it is calling JWT service dot generate token method. It should send token as a response to us. So click on send method. Wow. Are we able to get the token as a response now? What is the response we got from the login method, guys?
Token, sir, token.
What is the response we are getting from the login method? We got the token. Now, let me take this token and let me send a request for the welcome method. Get welcome. Currently, I'm not sending any token to the welcome. Send the request without a token. When I send a request to the welcome method without a token, is it allowing us to process the request or it is not allowing us to process the request? Is it processing the request or it is not
It's not.
processing the request?
Not allowing, sir.
Not loving.
Now, let me execute this. Bearer token is available. Whatever the token we got in the response, I am passing that token here. Now go to the headers. Now you see how the header is generated. Authorization is the key. Bearer space, whatever the token I am giving, it is going in the request. So this is a get request with welcome. Click on send. Still, the request is processed or not processed. Bearer
Not
token is available.
No.
Send the get request with the bearer token. It is saying 403 forbidden. Even after sending the token, request is not processed. So let me check it here. Exception is coming. JWT expired. Current time. Difference of milliseconds. Okay. The token is getting expired. Let me go to JWT service. I need to increase the time limit for that. When I am trying to access this request, within fraction of milliseconds, our token is getting expired. So we are getting an error. So the token that you are sending in the request is not valid, boss. So your token is expired. Go to JWT service. So the token system dot current time millis. So we are using 1000 multiplied by 60 by 1. I need to set the limit for this. 1000 milliseconds, 60 seconds gives you 60,000 milliseconds. So 1 minute. So this is going to give the token is valid for only 1 minute of time. Let me give this 60 multiplied by 60. So if I give 60 multiplied by 60, 1 hour. So with this time limit, we are going to get the token expiry for 1 hour of time. So I have changed the time limit. So if I give 60 multiplied by 1, okay, we are going to get the token only for 1 minute. Now I have updated the token expiry to 1 hour. Now let me stop this application. Let me run again. Let me regenerate the token. I will run this project in the debug mode now. Debug as boot application. Application is started. Now go to this history, send a login request again to generate the new token because the time limit is increased for the token expiry date. Earlier, the expiry is only 1 minute. Now the expiry is 1 hour. Send this request. We will get a new token. So there is a breakpoint is available. Yeah, authentication token is getting executed. If authentication is successful, then this will generate a token. The token we are sending in the response. I'm waiting for the response. Query got executed and I got the token. Now take this token JWT token. Now go to get request. Pass the latest token in the authentication bearer token. Remove the old one. And bearer token, I'm giving the latest one. With this latest token, send the request. Now I'm able to get the response. Welcome to Ashok IT. Suppose if I send the request without any token to the welcome URL, click on send method. I'm getting 403. My request is not processed if I am not sending the token in the header. So if I pass bearer token, then send that request, we are able to get the response. Now you can verify in the filter before our request is processed by our REST controller method, filter will be executed. Let me keep a breakpoint in the filter and let me show you how the token is coming in the request. So I'm keeping a breakpoint in this and I am sending a request. Now it will go to the filter. Why this is going to the filter? Why the request is going to the filter? Because in our configuration, we have done that update. So in the security configuration, what I have configured here, in the Spring Security filter chain, I told that if any request comes with these URL patterns, no need of a filter, you can directly execute. If any request comes to the other URL patterns, then that filter should be executed. So that's why when I send the request to the welcome method, the request is coming to the filter first. So in this filter, what we are checking from the request, we are reading the header with the key authorization. So auth header is coming. In the header, what is there? Authorization header is a key. In that header value, bearer space token is coming. First part, second part, and the third part. So total 3 parts available in the token. From that token, we are checking header is present or not. Yes, it is present. Yes, it is starting with the bearer. Then from this substring, I'm getting only actual token. Only token I'm getting. Then I'm extracting username from the token. So when I extract the username from the token, my email ID is username sunil@gmail.com. Now it is going to verify authentication is null in the security context. Then I'm loading the customer record based on the given customer email ID for setting the authentication process. So I got the user details object and I'm using validate token. It is saying that token is valid. Earlier, the token is expired at only 1 minute. Now the token is having 1 hour. Okay, number of milliseconds, number of minutes, number of hours that we are going to specify. Okay, good. Is valid. Yes, token is valid. Then I'm creating the authentication token object. For authentication token, I am setting the context. Then security context is updated saying that request is valid. As the request is valid, then the request came to our method and which is getting executed. So token is valid, the request is processed. Suppose if I send the request for register method, if I send the request to the register method with another details, so instead of Sunil, let me take it as Anil and the name also Anil and the password is Anil@123. Now go here, registration method is available, keep the breakpoint. Send the request for registration. So when I send the request for the registration, it is coming to the filter here. Now in the filter, auth header, it is checking. Auth header is not equal to null. Auth header is null. It is going to the filter chain.do filter. Now, even though the token is not available, the request came to register method. Why it is coming to the register method? Because of our configuration. In the configuration, what we specified, any request comes with these URLs, we need to permit. If any request comes with other than these 2 URLs, they should be authenticated by using this filter. Now, register request will be processed. The user registration will be success. Sending the request. Yes, inserted the record into table. User registration is successful. Select a star from customer. Anil record is inserted. Okay. Now for the Anil, we can send the login also. Anil email ID, Anil password. If you send the request to the login URL, send the request. Yes, the request came to this filter. Once for request. For every request, the filter is getting executed. Come here, check the token is present or not. No, token is not available for login. It's not required. Anybody can access. The token is not present. It is going to the filter chain.do filter. Then login method is executed. Even though token is not present, login method is getting called. So once the login is called, if the login is valid, then token will be generated for that user. Okay, loading the user record. If the user record is valid, then it will send token as a response. For this user, one more token will be generated. For this user, token got generated. Take this token and go to welcome method. Go to welcome, remove this token and use this token. Click on send. If the token is valid, yes, we are getting welcome to Ashok IT. Suppose if I don't send the token, no authentication. If I send no auth, that means I'm not passing any authentication token or basic auth or basically no auth. Suppose if I use JWT bearer algorithm and secret that we need to set, we are going for bearer token or no authentication. Send the request without authentication token, then the request is not processed. So you need to send the token to the provider in this format. Okay, what is the format I have given? Yeah, where we will client application will send client application should send bearer token, JWT token to provider in below format, which is authorization is the header is equal to bearer space token. Right. So earlier basic authentication token we sent. How we send the basic authentication token? So we send the basic authentication token, key is authorization basic. But now simply authorization is the key, bearer space token we need to send in the request. So we are able to test our application, which is having three methods. One is register method is available. Another one is login method is available. For register and login, token is not required. Directly the request is processed. But for the welcome method, token is required. If the token is present, then only request will be processed. Otherwise, your request will not be processed. Where we are checking the token, that is where a filter class we created. So inside the filter, once per request filter is available, filter internally talking to JWT service validate token. If the token is present, security context is getting updated. If the token is not present, security context will not be updated. Guys, are you clear? JWT token in our REST API. If login is successful, token is generated. Are you clear with my point?
Sir, for every user, we need to generate the token, sir, right?
Yes, sir. For every user, whenever they log in, a token will be generated. In the token, username will be available. When you send the token, we will verify your username is present in that or not.
Okay, sir. Okay.
For every user, token will be generated. Even in the Ashok IT website, also JWT token concept only available. Whenever you log in, for your login, one token will be generated. If the token is available, then only you can access the next processing. Whenever you log in, a token will be generated for you. So in the real time, what will happen? The consumer application, for example, if it is an Angular application or if it is a React application, whenever you log in, a token will be generated. In the Angular application, we are going to save the token by using session storage. Okay. So the session storage will be available in the Angular application. Whenever you log in, whatever the JWT token you got, you will store that JWT token in the session storage. And when you are sending a next request, for every request, we need to send the token in the header. If the token is valid, then only your request will be processed. Otherwise, your request will not be processed. In the backend APIs, session concept will not be available. Token also we are not storing anywhere. So client application, that is UI application, will send the request for authentication. If authentication is successful, our backend application will generate a token and will send the token to the customer like this. If that token is valid, then that request will be processed. What Angular application will do? Every time they will not request one user, one token. Whenever you log in, token will be generated. So whatever the token coming to the consumer will store the token in the session. In the Angular session concept is available. Next time when they are sending a next request, they need to take the token from the session. They need to send the token in the request. If the token is valid, backend API will process, otherwise your request will not be processed.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Got my point?
Yes, sir. Yes.
So I will show you in the Angular code how we are dealing with that token. Front-end application. Okay. So let me open my front-end application code, which is Angular code, Ashok IT website, Angular application. Let me go to my services. Yeah, upload nodes service is available. Now, can you see here what we are sending the request in the Angular? I want to send the request to this URL in the backend. This is
Yes,
my
sir.
Angular application code. I want to send a GET request to this URL. So in the request, we are passing some header. What is the header we are passing? What is the key of the header?
Authorization code.
And what is this? Bearer. And from where we are getting the token? From user storage. So when the user is logged in, the token we will receive and will store in the storage. When we are sending the next request, we will send the every request. So to get the class nodes, a request is sending to the backend with the header. In the header, authorization bearer token is available. Suppose if I want to add the class nodes, upload the class nodes. Again, I'm sending a post request. In the post request, again, we are sending the bearer token. I want to update the nodes. I'm sending a put request to update the nodes. Again, I'm sending the bearer token in the request. I want to delete the class nodes. I'm sending a delete request. Again, I'm sending the bearer token. So every request, for every request, you need to send the token in the header. Then only your request will be processed. Otherwise, your request will not be processed. So Angular application, when you log in into our application by using your username and password, a token will be generated. You will get the token as a response. You store the token in your session. For every next request, you need to send the token in the header. If token is present, then only it will process, otherwise it will not process. So in the backend, what we have done, we created a filter which is used to verify the token. Only for the login and registration, token is not required. For the remaining all the URLs in the application, token is required. If the token is present and if the token is valid, then only the context will be updated. Otherwise, context will not be updated. If the context is updated with authentication token, then only the request will be processed. Otherwise, your request will not be processed. So that is how in the real time, people will implement JWT tokens in the application. So in the Ashok IT website, front end is Angular, back end is Spring Boot microservice. So in the Spring Boot microservice is secured with the JWT token only. So this is the logic. So trainer module, adding the class, upload the class nodes, update the class nodes, delete the class nodes, and get all the class nodes. If a trainer want to perform any operation in the backend, directly it will not accept this request. Backend API is developed with JWT security. So when the trainer login in the application, so for trainer, one token will be generated, that a token will be saved in the memory, in the Angular application. For every next request, in the HTTP request, we are sending that authorization token, bearer token in the request. If the token is valid, then only it will process, otherwise it will not be processed.
Sir, here we are calling get token, right? Every time. So what if a token is expires?
If token is expired, your request will not be processed. You need to re-login into the application.
Okay.
Suppose, for example, I have given the time limit for the token as 1 hour. Right. Here I set the time limit for the token as 1 hour. So after 1 hour, your token is valid only for 1 hour. So you logged in into the application, then suddenly you got a call. You logged in into the application and you got a call. You went outside. After 2 hours, you came back and you are trying to perform the next operation. Then it will not process your request because to perform this operation, token validation will happen. If the token is invalid, you will not get the response. Then you will realize your screen will become empty. You will not get the response. Then you need to log in again. When you log in again, a new token will be generated for you.
Got it. Thank you.
Clear with my point? You understand how JWT tokens are going to work, guys? Yes, for this project is available in the
Yes.
Git repository. Okay, the GitHub repository for the JWT token application is available. So in this mainly we have JWT service available, which contains the logic to generate the token and validate the token. And we created one validation filter in our application, app filter, once per request filter. Check authorization header presence, retrieve the bearer token from the header, validate the token. If the token is valid, update security context to process the request. And we have customized security filter chain in our application. So what we have done, permit any request coming with the login and register URL patterns. Okay, and authenticate any other request which is available in our application with the JWT. Authenticate any other request. Okay, authorization token format. This is the format as I told you. In this format, we are going to send the token key and value. Value contains bearer. All right. So this is one single application, guys, where we have implemented JWT. But what about microservices? What about microservices, guys? So this is one single REST API. We implemented JWT token in this REST API. So if you remember microservices, what is the meaning of microservices? What is the microservices?
Multiple REST API.
Multiple REST APIs will be available. When we have the multiple REST APIs, where we need to implement this security concept?
In the gateway level.
We need to implement that security at the gateway level. So that concept is one REST API we implemented with JWT, that is okay. A single project, if it is a monolithic application, that is fine. But suppose if we have microservices, then how we will implement JWT tokens in the microservices? So what we need to do is whatever that JWT service and whatever app filter is available, where we need to create these classes now. JWT service and app filter, where these classes should be available in the microservices project.
Yes, it is, sir. Yeah, microservice project.
In the API gateway, we need to do that. In the API gateway, we need to do that. Okay. Microservices with the JWT security. Tomorrow I will show you. Already I have implemented microservices security. The projects is available in my GitHub repository, guys. So today, if you have time, you can just explore the projects available in the Git. Tomorrow we will talk about JWT implementation in the microservices. If you see, I have taken 6 microservices. So one is service registry, another one is config server, welcome API, greet API, authentication service, API gateway. So here we know already what is service registry. Can anyone tell me what is a service registry? Can anyone tell me what is service registry?
Here we can maintain all the API endpoints at one place.
Correct. Now, service registry is used to provide a dashboard regarding all the services available in our application. It is something like a Eureka. So where we can see all the microservices available in our application. What is the name of the microservice? What is the status of the microservice? What is the URL of the microservice? Everything we can access from service registry dashboard. And config server. What is the purpose of config server, guys?
It will maintain all the property file centralized.
Yes, instead of keeping the configuration properties within our application, we can keep the configuration properties outside of our application by using config server. It will make our application loosely coupled. And
Sir,
next,
I have a question over here.
yes.
Suppose like if I have two applications with some database dependencies, and we are maintaining our property files in a config server, and we are like consuming the config server, but like while starting the application, the repo doesn't start. It shows we required some database properties. So in this situation, how we should handle it, sir?
Every service should have its own properties file in the config server.
Yes, sir. That we will be maintaining in the config server. Okay, on a Git repo or somewhere else, we will keep it all the property file for the respective repos. But while starting the repository, for example, if you have customer repository and I am starting it, and I have in that in customer repository, I maintain the like, and I will already having a property file to consume the config server, right?
Okay.
So while starting the application, and it shows that application failed to start because it requires some data source properties.
If the config server is up and running, then you should not
Yes,
face
yes,
the
yes.
problem.
The config server was up and running.
Then you should not get that problem. That means if you are getting that problem, that means your application properties file not reading the config server URL properly.
I think I didn't like explain the it's just up in the last now I will share my screen and I will show
tomorrow
the problem, sir.
Tomorrow, keep your system ready. Tomorrow we will see that.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, fine guys. So microservices security here, service registry available, config server available, welcome API, greet API, auth service, API gateway is available. So in this application, auth service contain the login and registration. Whatever that we have implemented today, this complete project is called auth service. User authentication will happen in the auth service. So when the user login is successful, auth service will send the token for the user. And the token validation will be available in the API gateway. Tomorrow, we will execute this microservices project, which is having JWT token. So if you have time, you just go through this Git repository to understand how I have implemented Spring Boot security in microservices project. Microservices with JWT security. So today we implemented normal Spring Boot application with JWT and we are able to test it also. The project source code is available in my GitHub repository. And next tomorrow we are going to see how the JWT concept will be implemented with respect to microservices in the application. So tomorrow we will complete our discussion related to Spring security. Good. Thank you guys. With this, I'm stopping for today. We'll meet again in the tomorrow session. Please practice JWT before coming to tomorrow. If you don't practice JWT, then you can't understand the microservices security in the tomorrow's class. Good. Thank you guys. Have a great day.